What if I told you that behind all the love songs, the public displays of loyalty, and the picture-perfect hip-hop marriage, there's a dark secret that Papoose has fought to bury for years? Well, Remy Ma just ripped the lid off that secret, and trust me, it's not the fairy tale you thought it was. From hidden family drama to revelations that could shatter his entire image. This is the truth Papoose never wanted the world to see. When people think about Papoose, they usually think of loyalty, commitment, and that rare kind of love story in hip-hop that stands the test of time. For years, he's been branded as the man who held Remy Ma down while she was locked up. The husband who stood by his wife's side no matter what the circumstances were, and the rapper who put family above everything else. But what if I told you that there's another side to this story, one that doesn't fit the picture-perfect narrative? Because recently, Remy Ma herself dropped a revelation that has left fans completely shocked. She claims that Papoose has been hiding a dark family truth all along, one that he never wanted the world to see. And when Remy finally decided to speak up, she didn't just crack the surface, she blew the entire cover off of his carefully curated image. Now, let's rewind for a second. Papoose has always presented himself as a family man. He and Remy often talked about love, loyalty, and standing strong against the odds. In fact, many people in the industry used to compare them to the Bonnie and Clyde of rap, not because they were wild and reckless, but because they were unbreakable. But here's the thing about unbreakable images: when they crack, they don't just break a little, they shatter completely. According to Remy, Papoose wasn't always upfront about his family. Before he was the doting husband that fans saw on TV and social media, he had already built a complicated history that involved relationships, children, and choices that he tried desperately to push out of the spotlight. And while most people thought they knew everything about him, the truth was far more complicated. In one of the most surprising confessions Remy Ma has ever made publicly, she revealed that there's a part of Papoose's past that he worked overtime to keep hidden, not only from the media, but even from her at the beginning of their relationship. Imagine that for a moment. The man who stood as the ultimate symbol of loyalty, the man who claimed to put everything on the table, allegedly keeping secrets about something as important as family. So, what exactly is this secret? Well, according to Remy, Papoose has children and family ties that he didn't acknowledge openly for years. Some sources have whispered about strained relationships with people from his past, situations that were brushed under the rug in order to keep his perfect husband image intact. And while fans always applauded him for being the father figure of the year, Remy is now painting a much darker, much messier picture of what things were really like behind the scenes. And here's where it gets even deeper. Remy didn't just expose the existence of these hidden truths, she allegedly brought receipts. She talked about conversations, family conflicts, and incidents that suggest Papoose wasn't always the man he claimed to be. Instead of being the flawless figure fans thought he was, showing him as someone with flaws, regrets, and complicated family dynamics that he never wanted in the public eye. Let's pause here, because this revelation changes everything. For years, the hip-hop community has praised Papoose as the blueprint of how to be a loyal partner. He was seen as the one rapper who didn't get caught up in scandals, the one husband who put his family first. But if Remy's words are true, then all of that loyalty was built on a shaky foundation. Because how can someone be the perfect family man if parts of their family were erased from the narrative? What makes this revelation even more explosive is the timing. Think about it. Remy Ma and Papoose have had their fair share of public drama recently, with rumors swirling about their marriage hitting rough waters, whispers about infidelity, and even speculation that they might not be as solid as they once appeared. For Remy to come out now with this kind of bombshell, it doesn't feel random. It feels intentional. Almost like a power move to shatter the image of the man who once held her crown. And let's not forget, Remy knows exactly how powerful words can be. She's been in this industry long enough to understand that one revelation, one confession, can completely flip public opinion. By exposing this side of Papoose, she's not just venting. She's rewriting the narrative about him entirely. Now, fans are left divided. On one hand, some people feel like Remy is being unfair, that she's dragging Papoose through the mud after he stood by her during her prison sentence, that she's weaponizing personal family drama in a way that feels cruel. On the other hand, there are fans who believe her completely. They argue that nobody is perfect, that Papoose may have been hiding things all along, and that Remy has every right to share her truth, especially if it impacts her life and their marriage. The question everyone is asking now is simple. Why? Would Papoose hide this? He was really all about family. Why not be open about every aspect of it from the beginning? Some insiders suggest that he wanted to avoid public scrutiny, that he feared how the industry would judge him if his story wasn't perfectly polished. Others believe that his loyalty image became such a strong part of his brand that he felt he couldn't afford to let any flaws show. But if there's one thing hip-hop has taught us over the years, it's that the truth always finds its way out. And when it does, it usually comes crashing down harder than anyone expects. Part 1 ends with this reality check. Papoose's reputation as the ultimate loyal family man isn't as unshakable as fans thought. Remy Ma has pulled back the curtain, and now the world is starting to see cracks in his story. What remains to be seen is how Papoose himself will respond and whether he can survive the storm that's coming his way. Because trust me, this is only the beginning. If part 1 was the spark, then part 2 is the fire that's spreading uncontrollably. Because once Remy Ma exposed Papoose's hidden family truth, the conversation didn't just stop at her words, it ignited a storm across social media, blogs, and the hip-hop community at large. Everyone suddenly had something to say, and the image that Papoose spent years carefully building began to crumble in real time. Fans who once crowned him as the most loyal husband in rap started asking uncomfortable questions. Journalists began digging through old interviews, revisiting past statements, and pulling receipts that suddenly didn't line up. And perhaps the most painful part of all, people from Papoose's past started to speak out. Yes, you heard that, right? Once Remy cracked the door open, others walked through it. Reports started surfacing about family members and individuals connected to Papoose, who confirmed that there were indeed strained relationships, unacknowledged ties, and situations that he never wanted in the spotlight. It wasn't long before bloggers pieced together a narrative that painted a very different picture of the man who once seemed flawless. Let's be clear, every celebrity has skeletons in the closet. But in Papoose's case, his entire identity in the culture was built around being different from the rest, being honest, loyal, and transparent. So, when those cracks appear, they don't just hit hard. They hit in a way that makes people question everything. Remy Ma, for her part, didn't backtrack or soften her words. In fact, she doubled down. In a candid moment during an interview, she explained why she decided to reveal what she did. People think they know everything, she said, her voice sharp with frustration. But what they don't realize is that sometimes the person who looks the most solid is the one who's fighting the biggest battles in the dark. I'm not exposing him to hurt him, I'm exposing the truth because I had to live with it. Words were heavy. They hinted at deeper layers, at emotional scars, and at a marriage that might not have been as picture-perfect as Instagram made it seem. Suddenly, the fairy tale love story was looking more like a complicated novel filled with secrets, betrayal, and unspoken pain. Now here's where things really took a turn. Papoose himself couldn't stay silent forever. It's always been known for his words, his raps, his speeches, his ability to articulate his feelings. But this time, when he finally addressed the situation, his response was filled with both anger and hurt. According to insiders close to the couple, Papoose felt blindsided by Remy's revelation. He allegedly told friends that he couldn't believe she would air something so personal, especially after everything they had been through together. To him, this wasn't just about the truth, it was about loyalty. And the irony of it all? The man known for loyalty now felt betrayed by the very person he was loyal to. But Remy wasn't budging. She made it clear that her decision to speak out wasn't about disrespect, it was about survival. She hinted at the emotional toll it took on her to carry secrets that weren't hers to begin with. And if you listen closely, you'll realize her words weren't just about Papoose's past. They were about the present struggles in their marriage too. Because, let's not forget, rumors about Remy and Papoose's relationship being on the rocks have been swirling for months, from whispers of infidelity to speculations about tension behind closed doors. Fans already sensed that things weren't as strong as they once were. Now, with this bombshell out in the open, those rumors feel less like gossip and more like confirmation that all was not well in the Mackey household. The public reaction was intense. Hashtags started trending. Debates broke out online. Was Remy wrong for airing private family matters? Did Papoose deserve this after everything he did for her? Or is this proof that loyalty isn't always what it seems? One fan tweeted, "Papoose held Remy down for 6 years while she was locked up. She's exposing him now? Then? Either she's bitter or the truth is even darker than we think." Another wrote, "Y'all been idolizing a marriage that was built on lies. This is why I don't believe in celebrity couples." Meanwhile, gossip blogs had a field day. Some started digging up alleged names and connections tied to Papoose's hidden family ties. Others speculated about how long Remy knew and why she chose this moment to reveal it. Theories ranged from her trying to regain control in their marriage, to her simply being tired of carrying the burden of silence. And let's talk about timing for a moment. Timing is everything in the entertainment industry. You don't just drop a revelation like this by accident. Some industry insiders believe Remy chose this exact moment because the spotlight was already on them due to recent rumors. By speaking her truth, she controlled the narrative, at least for now. But here's the catch. Once the truth is out, you can't control how people spin it. And for Papoose, that meant facing headlines he never wanted to see. The family Papoose tried to hide, is hip-hop's most loyal husband a fraud? And Remy Ma exposes the dark side of her marriage. What makes this even more devastating is that Papoose always prided himself on being respected, even by people outside of his music. His reputation was bigger than his rap career. It was about character. And now that character was being dragged through the mud. Behind closed doors, sources claim the tension between Remy and Papoose reached an all-time high. Arguments, silence, emotional distance, it all piled up as the world watched from the outside. And while neither of them confirmed a split, fans couldn't help but wonder if their marriage could survive such a public unraveling. Part 2 ends with a chilling reality. This isn't just about hidden family ties anymore. This is about loyalty, betrayal, and the painful truth that sometimes the people we put on pedestals are fighting battles we can't even imagine. Remy has spoken her truth. Papoose has begun to fight back. And now the world is waiting for the next move in this very public chess game between two people who once swore they were unbreakable. But trust me, what comes next in part 3 will be the breaking point. If you thought the situation between Remy Ma and Papoose had already reached its breaking point, think again. Because what unfolded next was more than just a revelation, it was an all-out war between truth, loyalty, and survival. And this time, the gloves were off, after Remy exposed Papoose's hidden family truth. Fans waited to see if he would issue a full denial, a confession, or maybe even a quiet apology. But instead, Papoose went into defense, moderned his response, sent shockwaves through the community. According to sources close to the couple, Papoose privately confronted Remy, demanding to know why she would drag something so personal into the public eye. To him, this wasn't just a betrayal, it was a direct attack on the very foundation of their marriage. His words were allegedly sharp. "You're supposed to protect me the way I protected you." That line cut deep because it brought everything Back to the years he stood by Remy during her prison sentence. To Papoose, those years of loyalty were proof that no matter what flaws he had, he deserved to be shielded from public humiliation. But Remy didn't see it that way. She fired back, reminding him that loyalty isn't about hiding the truth, it's about living it. And in her eyes, Papoose hadn't lived up to his own legend. The argument spilled into the public sphere when Papoose finally broke his silence in a cryptic post online. He didn't directly address the hidden family allegations, but he hinted at betrayal. He wrote, "They'll praise you when you are silent, but crucify you when you speak." Loyalty goes both ways. Fans instantly knew who he was talking about. The post went viral within hours, with thousands of people dissecting every word. Was he accusing Remy of being disloyal? Was he denying her claims altogether? Or was he admitting that, yes, he had secrets, but he felt she had no right to expose them? Meanwhile, Remy wasn't backing down either. In another interview, she doubled down on her stance. "I didn't lie to him. Everything I said was facts. And if telling the truth makes me the bad guy, then so be it. So be it." Those words sent shockwaves, because they weren't just defensive, they were final. It was as if she was drawing a line in the sand, saying she would no longer protect Papoose's image at the cost of her own peace. The fallout grew even messier. When people connected to Papoose's past family members, acquaintances, and even alleged former partners began speaking to blogs and gossip outlets. Suddenly, stories that had been whispers for years were being plastered across headlines. People claimed Papoose had strained relationships with children from before his marriage. Relationships that weren't as picture-perfect as fans believed. Whether all of these claims were true or exaggerated didn't even matter at this point. Because, in the court of public opinion, perception is reality. And the perception now was that hip-hop's most loyal husband wasn't so. Flawless after all, the weight of this scandal began to show on both Papoose and Remy. Pap, usually calm and collected, started showing frustration in his public appearances. He looked visibly drained, dodging questions and keeping interviews short. Remy, on the other hand, seemed almost liberated, like she had finally unburdened herself from a secret she'd carried too long. But that liberation came at a cost. Cause the couple's once solid reputation was unraveling before everyone's eyes. And then came the breaking point, at a recent live event. The two appeared together on stage for the first time since the scandal broke. Fans expected unity, maybe even a denial of the rumors. Instead, what they got was tension so thick you could feel it through the screen. Papoose tried to speak of loyalty, thanking fans for standing by him. But Remy's body language told a different story, arms crossed, eyes cold, and no affection between them. Clips of that moment went viral, sparking headlines like, "R. Remy and Papoose done for good." Behind the scenes, insiders revealed that the couple had reached a crossroads. Either they would try to rebuild from scratch, or they would quietly separate and let the empire they built together fade into history. And with every passing day, it seemed less likely that rebuilding was even possible. Because here's the truth. Once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to repair. For Remy, the betrayal wasn't just about hidden family ties. It was about living a lie for years. For Papoose, the betrayal wasn't about exposure. It was about the woman he loved, turning his flaws into ammunition for the world to see. Both of them felt wounded, but in completely different ways. The hip-hop community watched closely. With many celebrities weighing in, some defended Papoose, saying nobody's perfect and that his past didn't erase the loyalty he showed Remy when she needed it most. Others sided with Remy, applauding her bravery for finally speaking her truth, no matter how messy it was. The debate became so heated that it felt less like celebrity gossip and more like a cultural conversation about loyalty, forgiveness, and the cost of protecting an image. And here's the irony. The very thing that made Remy and Papoose iconic there